Yo, what's poppin' everybody? Cerebral24. So tomorrow is the official release for Team Up in the TCG, and just like we did with Lost Thunder, I'm going to tell you guys what the best emerging decks are from this set. If you're going to pull from this set and try to build new decks, these are the best sort of candidates. And remember, this isn't the best decks from the entirety of the Sun and the Moon meta. It's the best emerging decks coming out from this set. It might just be that Buzzle GX is still going to be it's going to end up being the best deck and beating up everybody. In fact, there's a good chance it's going to happen again. But anyway, so instead of leaving the best for last, I'm going to start from the bottom this time. I'm going to start with the most significant Pokemon in my opinion, GX Pokemon anyway, and it is Eevee and Snorlax GX, these tag team Pokemon. Now, this Pokemon I'm including it first because you can build a deck around this guy if you want to, like maybe use Shuckles, use DCs, and just power up this guy and have it be the focus of your deck if you really want to. But I'm including him in here because this is just an amazing tech Pokemon, most importantly. Like, I believe decks like Magnezone gain a lot of power, energy acceleration decks like that because they can include this guy, power him up, and you've got a great tech that just kills GX Pokemon in one hit. Stage 1 GX and even Stage 2 GX is in one shot easily. So that's why I'm including here. I think he's going to make a really big splash. Any deck can basically run this guy, especially if they run DCs, if they run any form of energy acceleration. Like even the Quagsire decks maybe can try this Pokemon out, just move the water energies on him, what have you. So I think is the most significant GX and definitely tag team GX Pokemon here. Taking care of these GX Pokemon, you can use them as a tech, like I've said, in many decks, any deck, and even build a deck focusing around this guy. So yeah, Snorlax, definitely keep your eye out for this guy. Alright, now the second tag team GX, we've got Gengar and Mimikyu GX here. So this Pokemon is really hit or miss, is the best way I can describe it. On the one hand, Poltergeist is a really strong attack, and you can do a lot of damage. Horror House GX works perfectly with Poltergeist too. On the other hand, though, Zoroark GX takes care of this guy very easily. It just does, with 5 bench Pokemon, it does exactly 240 damage for weakness to take care of him, and you give out 3 prizes just like that. And if you don't have a full bench, like if you have a choice ban on, just with 4 Pokemon you can take care of him. So Zoroark GX takes care of this guy so easily. It's not even like how the fighting Pokemon, hit other Pokemon for weakness. You might still have a shot. This guy though, he really it dies too easy to Zoroark GX. Given 3 prizes just like that, it's just too much. So I don't know if it's gonna do anything. If you don't consider Zoroark GX, this is a very good Pokemon though. We can make one of the best decks from Team Up, building a deck around this guy. And in Expanded, you can even use Vileplume and sort of remake the classic Valgar deck. You lock your opponent's items stuck in hand, and then the Poltergeist is going to do fuckloads of damage, and you can even make the attack with 1 energy thanks to Dimension Valley. So it does have a lot of potential. It can make a really strong deck if you use it right, but you kind of have to find a way to deal with Zoroark GX and just Darkness Pokemon in general. Because with the weakness, giving out 3 prizes like that for free is a major advantage to your opponent. So Gengar and Mimikyu GX, pretty good. In Standard, we don't have any way to make a good item lock. I suppose we do have Omastar, but I wonder how effective that's going to be used with this Pokemon. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if they want to play a lot of Pokemon, then Omastar's lock activates. Then okay, Zoroark GX has the bench, but then the lock activates. If they don't, then you don't get the lock. So I don't know. It's just a tricky Pokemon to use in Standard. But Gengar, definitely pretty good. One of the best tag team GXs for sure. Alright, next up we got the Zekrom and Pikachu GX here. Now this Pokemon also has a really dangerous weakness to fighting. It means that Buzzle GX and Lycanroc really just can take care of this Pokemon very easily too. Maybe not so easy as easily as Gengar, but with Diancie, with Beast Energy, Choice Band, what have you, he's gonna die pretty quickly too. Now the good thing though is that this Pokemon does have a lot of partners that it can rely upon. We've got this new Tabu Koko that's going to come out in this set as well, the Prism, so you can use it to instantly power up this dude and perform powerful full blitz attacks, powering up your other lightning Pokemon too. Another thing you can do is just combine this with just straight up Magnezone. You power up this guy, performing the Attackable GX attack, and if you really do your shit right, you're gonna get two big knockouts on an opponent's active GX Pokemon and a bench Tapu Lele, let's say. That's the best case scenario. You can combine this Pokemon, of course, with Zeraora GX, all the Lightning Pokemon, and Lightning support cards, Electro Power, Thunder Mountain. It's just a lot of good stuff. Now, of course, you gotta remember, Buzzwole and Lycanroc, they're gonna have a good time fucking with you. So that's just another thing to consider. But definitely a good tag team GX Pokemon as well. Alright, now for some regular ass GX Pokemon. The first one I'm going to talk about here is Incineroar GX. Now, this Pokemon is not very impressive when it comes to the attacks, and you know the stats are standard. Stage 2 GX Pokemon, really big, 250 HP. Weakness to fighting once again, so Buzzwole, Buzzwole fucks this guy up too. Psychic resistance standard. But the reason why I think this Pokemon can still be pretty good, and you could make a deck around this guy, or even just use him for support, is because of Scar Charge. Just grabbing 3 energies from the deck with his ability is just too freaking good to pass up. So you don't have to worry at the very least at powering him up. You can just get him out with Rare Candy, and when you do, you can instantly get those energies on and start attacking. Like I said, its attacks aren't really that impressive. They did keep that in mind when they gave him this ability. So you just do 130 for 3, discard a special energy, and Darkest Tornado. You need to have a few damage counters on to use this GX attack effectively. I guess it does have some synergy with the ability. It has a lot of good stuff. The ability is powerful, but you're going to have to find a good way to use him. I guess it's the best way I can think about it. But definitely a very good Stage 2 GX Pokemon coming from this set. You can make a deck around this guy for sure. There's a lot of dark support now. Okay, next GX Pokemon, we've got Ampharos GX. This Pokemon is also weak to fighting, and Buzzwole basically is just another Pokemon in the list of prey for Buzzwole and Lycanroc. Now, this Pokemon though, it can retaliate back, I would say. Since it's a lightning Pokemon, you have all of the amazing support that I talked about with Zekrom GX. You can use Zeraora, you can use the new Tabu Koko, all of the Electro Powers. This Pokemon basically exists to exploit Electro Power, which is why I feel like maybe it's going to be the best deck utilizing Electro Power. You can grab them back using the first attack, essentially doing free damage for 1 energy, and then when you're ready, you want to use the big attack, you can get easy one-hit knockouts. With just 1 or 2 Electro Powers, your second attack does 210, taking care of Stage 1 GXs easily. So pretty good. It has a solid little GX attack too, helping you set up, grabbing lots of Pokemon. So it might end up being a good Stage 2 GX Pokemon as well. So Ampharos GX, another very good deck if you want to try it from this set. Cool stuff. Alright. So now let's look at a few Stage 1 decks actually. And the first one I'm going to look at is the worst one. Is going to be this Alolan Muck here. Alolan Muck combined with Trashalanche, the Trash Duo. Now this is definitely a deck that is very real. It's going to be available, of course, when this set gets released. As soon as Alolan Muck hits the field, you can use it with the Trashalanche Garbodor, and they make a deadly combination. These Pokemon, it might end up being the best non-GX deck, anti-meta deck. It might end up being the best deck. I really don't know, because Trashalanche Garbodor is it's always been very powerful, and this Pokemon just fuels his power very much, and it's going to be a very strong deck. Strong ass Stage 1 deck, easy to use. You just do mass damage for 1 energy. So Muck and Trashalanche Garbodor, definitely a combo we should be really scared of. I really don't like this combination. I think they're going to be very good. So the next Stage 1 deck is going to be Gyarados. This Stage 1 Gyarados I feel is pretty good. I really think it can make a really good deck, focusing on just this Pokemon, a bunch of water energies. You can do a lot of damage for just 1 energy. Another good Stage 1 anti-meta deck, you could say. 150 HP is excellent on a Stage 1 Pokemon. The Lightning weakness, I mean, I guess there's a lot of good Lightning Pokemon now, but I think it's better to be weak to lightning than being weak to fighting or whatever. But it's just another really good deck, I feel like, that has the potential to be pretty good. Kind of like Gramble, maybe even better. So another good stage 1 deck if you want to build on the anti-meta spectrum, if you want to build on the regular ass Pokemon. And now for some stage 2 guys. We've got 3 amazing stage 2 lines here that might end up being very good Pokemon as well. First one is, of course, everybody's favorite, good old Charizard, Dragon Fire Pokemon right here, the starter. And this Pokemon is basically very, very good thanks to Roaring Resolve. You grab fire energies on him, you get one hit knockouts. He can do pretty good damage if you have a bunch of energies on and a choice band. Getting one shots on a stage 2, really nice, self-sufficient, kind of like Incineroar in a way. It's just a good Pokemon, not very complicated. You can combine this with a bunch of fire Pokemon. The Dragon Majesty Charizard too, we've been neglecting that I feel like, but maybe you can use it with that Pokemon and they're going to make a good little combination. Even if you just focus on this Charizard, you should be pretty good. Getting a bunch of fire energies on, slapping a choice band, you can easily get one hit knockouts without too much effort. I mean, you really just grab the energies from the deck. All you need is just another manual attachment and a choice band really. So a pretty good sort of a stage 1 GX killer in my eyes. Now for the water equivalent, we've got the water starter, OG Blastoise here. And it's basically the same idea, these Pokemon with good abilities when it comes to energy acceleration. Blastoise lets you reveal the top 6 cards of your deck, get any water energies, and then attach them to your Pokemon. Pretty good, it's not quite Deluge, but it gives you the potential to grab energies from the deck, so you don't have to worry about searching them in hand. And we don't have Professor Letter anyway. It is a good Pokemon, has a solid attack too, for a support Pokemon doing 150 for 3. There's some good water support as always. We got the Aqua Patch, we got Lapras, Quagsire is around too now, a bunch of other good stuff. Maybe we're going to see some Blastoise decks make a comeback in Standard. It's not a bad stage 2 for sure. Very, very good. So Blastoise, another good stage 2 line if you want to build that way. Next up, my personal favorite, because it's a throwback to the Queendom deck. I think this Pokemon has a very, very much potential, this Nidoqueen right here. 160 HP, a great ability letting you search Pokemon, and has the potential to do 250, 260 damage actually, if you have a full bench of evolved Pokemon. Now, this might be asking too much, having 5 of those Pokemon, but if we learned anything from the Meganium, Swampert-ass decks, with all those combinations of Pokemon, is that it's very possible. Anything's possible. You can easily just slap the Super Boost Prism Energy and she's ready to attack. And even just running DCs and other energies, you can go that route as well. It's a very flexible Pokemon with the energy cost being 3 colorless energies. It's just pretty good. This might be the necessary GX stage Pokemon, non-GX stage Pokemon that is a GX killer. It can knock out even the biggest GXs, even the tag team GXs, if you slap a choice band on. So it's pretty good. Now Charizard is easier to use definitely, but if you just put the effort on, I think Nidoqueen is just pretty good. The ability is useful, the attack is awesome, HP is pretty high. Just a very good stage 2 line that you can focus on a deck on this Pokemon. Now those are the major decks in Standard. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about some expanded stuff. Now the first thing is going to be this fucking Exeggutor here. Now I fucking hate the propagation executes, but for as long as they're around and they're good because they're busted. And with this Alolan Exeggutor, this Dragon one here, you can basically build an expanded deck that's very similar to the Gyarados, the Stormfront Gyarados deck, in that you probably going to have a Ditto evolve into this Alolan Exeggutor. Discard the propagation executes to get one hit knockouts, then grab him back, then keep going. If your guy dies, you just use Rescue Stretcher. You have one egg down, get ready to evolve into another Alolan Exeggutor, and then you just rinse and repeat. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You need a very good list, specific sort of list when building decks like these, kind of like how the Stormfront Gyarados was. But it's pretty good. If you guys don't know what it does, basically you discard executes from your hand and you do times 60. So if you discard 3 and this Pokemon has a choice band on, you do 210, and that's a one-hit knockout. Now it doesn't work with one energy, you do need a grass and a colorless, but I think people are just going to try and make this work. The first attack lets you draw cards as well, costless. People fucking love their propagation executes in fucking expanded. So maybe they're gonna use it with this card since it's a rand. So here's a little executor for you as well. Now the other stage 2 dude is gonna be stage 1 actually, is Zoroark here. Now in expanded, this Pokemon really gets outclassed by the Night March deck, but I guess for those that really just want to build, instead of Vespiquen and Flareon, you want to try this guy. Has more HP, I guess, and maybe can do more damage. I mean, not really. He actually has a cap, but he's a dark Pokemon. I guess you can use dark patches and DCs. I mean, he's there in expanded. Like I've said, he's probably outclassed by Night March. He's definitely outclassed by Night March and probably outclassed by Vespiquen and Flareon. But I guess if people want to use this in standard too, I mean, maybe. I don't think we have all the necessary tools, but it is what it is. I just thought I'd mention it because it is a pretty decent Pokemon as well. It has this sort of discard pile combo where you get a bunch of Pokemon there and it does more damage for all of your guys that are in there. The cap is 10, so you can max out at 200 damage before add-ons, but that's still pretty good. I mean, you knock out most things in one hit with that damage anyway. So Zoroark GX. Now, I actually almost forgot, and I forgot to talk about this in my set review too, and I was almost going to forget talking about this here. Honedge. Alright, the tool drop deck is back. So if you guys don't know, we do have a Pokemon that came in Lost Thunder called Genesect GX, and even though it doesn't have quite the ability of the old Sigilith that you can have 4 tools on it, you can have 2, but it's still pretty good. You have a bunch of those out, like let's say 2, and then you can attach a bunch of extra tools on those Pokemon, and then this Honedge can do a lot of damage for just 1 DCE. It's 30 times for every tool you have on the field, so I don't think I need to tell you anymore. You know, the unlimited damage output. It's basically a remake of the tool drop deck. If you guys aren't familiar with that, there was a Trubbish in black and white that basically did a very similar thing. You have a lot of tools around and you do 20 times the damage. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. This one is 30 times. So it's going to be pretty powerful. We don't have Startly Megaphone in standard. We just have Field Blower, which is a fairer card actually in this regard. So there's not going to be an easy way for your opponent to remove millions of tools at once. In expanded, there is the Startly Megaphone, like I've said, but this might end up being a pretty good deck in standard too, because you can play up a bunch of tools. Your opponent won't have an easy way to get rid of them. So another really nice non-GX deck you can try. Almost forgot to talk about this. It's a good deck. I should have mentioned this in my set review as well, as one of the best cards. Oh well, doing it now. And then the last Pokemon, this is more of a honorable mention, I guess. This Bisharp here, 110 HP. This Pokemon has an interesting first attack. For 1 metal energy, you do 30, but if this Pokemon doesn't have any damage counters, you do 120 for 1. This is pretty good for a stage 1, just 1 energy. So you can spam max potions all day, or find a way to continually heal this Pokemon, and then you have a stage 1 that can do 120 every turn. You know, it might be something, and it might end up being a deck. I don't know why you would do this. You can just use Gramble instead, but you never know. It's a metal Pokemon. And that's basically it. I think I covered most of the important decks here. We had quite a few decks to talk about. There's a lot of Pokemon that have a lot of potential. I do feel in the end, Pokemon like Buzzhole are going to be the best once again. Because, I mean, if you really think about it, like Snorlax, Incineroar, you know, the Lightning Pokemon, Ampharos, you know, all of these Pokemon are weak to fighting. And, you know, Gengar, which is weak to dark, Zoroark takes care of it. So I just feel like these Pokemon are going to be prey for the current sort of best decks that have been very good for a while. But I mean, you never know. The thing is with Snorlax though is that it can't take care of, you know, stage 2 GXs like Zoroark and other ones in one shot. So pretty good. What I think is going to be a really good deck that people aren't thinking about is Magnezone, either Lightning Magnezone or Metal Magnezone, especially since we get a lot of great consistency thanks to cards like Erika, and Jasmine actually helps Metal Pokemon a lot. You get a Pokemon like that out. I mean, you can even use Blastoise actually. You power up a great tech like Snorlax here, and then you can take care of the stage 2s easily in the stage 1 GXs. and you have your other usual stuff. So if you use Lightning Magnezone, you can use, of course, Zekrom and Pikachu Tag Team GX. So a lot of cool shit. But I would say the most significant Tag Team GX is going to be Snorlax. When it comes to the Stage 2s, both Charizard, Blastoise, and Nidoqueen have a lot of potential. Alolan Muck is going to be very, very dangerous with Trashlands Garbodor. It's a very deadly combination. I just don't know what's going to happen with that duo. They might just end up being the best deck. I just feel like they have it in them. And other great stuff like Tabu Koko Prism. So I think I rambled long enough, guys. You have an idea of what the best decks are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, and share this with your friends. My channel is an excellent hub for all things TCG, both retro and contemporary. So I hope you guys subscribe. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. We're going to have to start making decks with these new cards, trying them out, show some cool matches with them as well. So, Cerebral 94, and I'll see you guys next time. What's say?